Most people would never consult an addiction doctor to quit smoking. Nevertheless, let me give you my perspective as an addiction doctor on quitting smoking. After all, tobacco addiction is a full-fledged addiction. It's the biggest, baddest, meanest addiction there is. It kills more people than alcohol and opioids put together. The first mistake that most people make when they try to quit smoking is that they try to cut down. If you cut down, it means that every morning you wake up in the morning, you have to look at your cigarettes, your ashtray, and your lighter. What do we call these things in addiction medicine? We call them triggers. You can't beat an addiction if you don't get rid of your triggers. Now imagine an alcoholic says to me, "Well, doc, you're right, I gotta quit alcohol, but I work in a bar." Well, that won't fly. No, you're not going to drink Coke, and no, you're not going to stick with light beer. What about nicotine withdrawal? Now, I'm not going to say that nicotine withdrawal doesn't exist, but nicotine withdrawal is far less of a problem than most people think. Feel free to use nicotine patches and gums and lozenges if you wish, or medications like bupropion as found in Zyban or Wellbutrin. I stand by the things I say in this video, but the things I say in this video are compatible with any medications that you might wish to use. Why do I say that nicotine withdrawal is not as big of a problem as most people think? Now consider this. Most smokers will be able to sit through a 2 or 3 hour movie in a movie theater and not think about a cigarette. However, if they were to watch the same movie at home in a television set, every 20-30 minutes they will want to smoke. What's the difference? They're engaged in the same activity. They're watching the same movie and doing the same things. The difference is when you're at home, you have triggers. This also applies for smokers that fly in a plane, and they will sit through a 3 or 4 hour flight and not smoke and not get irritable. I have worked in the hospital with nurses that work what we call a weekend option. They come in on Saturday and they work 2 8-hour shifts back to back. That's 16 hours without smoking. And they come back on Sunday and they repeat it with another 16 hours back to back. That's how they get 32 hours of work in a weekend, and they get to stay home with their kids Monday to Friday. 16 hours without smoking, and you know what? I've worked alongside these nurses, and there's no decrease in their ability to concentrate. They're not irritable. They're not getting into fights with other nurses who aren't smoking or getting in fights with patients. It's also true for a lot of other people who smoke and work in non-smoking environments like a high-rise office building. You can't smoke, you don't smoke. Patients who end up being admitted to hospital might kick up a fuss for a day or two, but after that, they can't smoke while they're in hospital and they don't smoke. So nicotine withdrawal is real, but it's less of a problem than most people think. Now I'm going to tell you that paradoxically, it's easier to quit from 2 packs a day than from 5 cigarettes a day. Why is that? Because if you're smoking 2 packs a day, you probably don't enjoy a single cigarette, except perhaps for the first one in the morning. If you cut down to 5 cigarettes, God help man or a beast that gets between you and your 5 cigarettes. How are you going to quit something that means so much more to you? And besides, when you cut down, you're not actually getting less smoke in. Now this is how people normally smoke. They smoke a pack a day. They take a puff, tap, and every 30 seconds, 20 seconds, take another puff. When they cut down to 5 cigarettes a day, this is how they smoke. I'm smoking less. No, you're not. Furthermore, normally, if you smoke your regular amount, a pack a day, whatever it is, if this is a filter, you put out your smoke when it gets about here. When you cut down to 3 cigarettes or 5 cigarettes, you burn it all the way down to the filter. You're smoking plastic. You're burning plastic and putting that deep in your lung. No, you're not smoking less. Now, most people think that you only quit drugs or alcohol when you really want to or when you are ready. In reality, you don't quit drugs or alcohol when you should or when you want to. You only quit when you have to. When does quitting rise to the level of have to? When the pain of continuing with your addiction is far more than the pain of quitting. In other words, quitting has to be worth it. The problem is that you face the pain of quitting today, and the benefits of quitting you don't get for weeks or months. Now, think about this. What kind of benefit does smoking give you? You do not feel good when you smoke. You do not get euphoria. Smoking has zero entertainment value, and it doesn't add anything to your life. Smoking provides zero benefits, but you pay dearly for the privilege of wrecking your own body. Not only are cigarettes not rewarding, they are the ultimate anti-reward. If you didn't smoke, you'd have much more money to enjoy life. You can get a better car, you can go on vacation, you can buy nice things. Cigarettes are the anti-reward. Now I know that logic alone will never make you quit. However, quitting always begins with a thought. So let me give you something to think about. In the state of Indiana, the cost of a package of cigarettes just hit $13. That means that a pack-a-day habit now costs you roughly $400 a month. Now imagine if I said to you, I'm going to give you $400 a month to quit smoking. Not just for this month, but for every month for the rest of your life. Oh, by the way, that $400 is tax-free. Does that make it worthwhile for you to quit? Isn't that worth putting up with the discomfort of quitting, especially when the discomfort of quitting only lasts for a few days or weeks? In return, you get $400 a month tax-free every month for the rest of your life. And better health to boot. To summarize, it's worth your while to quit smoking, but you cut out, you don't cut down. Cutting down does not work. And once you stop smoking, you must never go back. In the words of Mark Twain, he said, "Quitting smoking is easy. I've done it hundreds of times." Well, once you quit, you must never go back, not for a single puff. I know many smokers think that they cannot quit smoking, but I'll tell you, yes, you can. You just haven't been doing it the right way up to this point. As I mentioned earlier, tobacco addiction is the biggest, baddest, meanest addiction there is. It kills more people than alcohol and opiates and cocaine put together. Yet it does not get the attention that it deserves. If this video makes sense, please share it with people who might benefit.